These are the best types of liquidity pools you can find. High risk, high reward. This is the third type of liquidity pool, and this is my favorite type of liquidity pool. And this is one of the reasons which makes Pulsechain absolutely shine for liquidity providers. This is DeFi in 5. This is volatile to volatile. So in this particular example, I'm going to show Atropa and pDAI. So what's beautiful about volatile is both can pump and both can dump. So obviously this means there's a lot of issues with liquidity in terms of impermanent loss. However, when they're both in sync, this is the magic. So here on the left-hand side, you can see Atropa is pumping in value. It is a chart that is up and to the right. And here, this is pDAI. It is also pumping in value. It is also a chart that is up and to the right. This is two incredible up and to the right charts that are very much in sync due to the ratios and liquidity bonding percentages. And this is something that I will be covering in future episodes. But for now, let's just stay focused on the fact that there's these two charts that are moving in sync up and to the right. When you put them together, Atropa to pDAI, pDAI being a speculative stablecoin, which is currently at the time of this half a cent. What you can see here is smoother stair-stepping structure. Why? Because it's both moving up and to the right. So when they're put together, it follows this magnet at around 7.5. This is what we see. Every time it deviates from this magnet, it's moving back to it. It's being bought up and sold down and bought up and sold down. And what happens here is between that, as it finds its way back to that magnet line of 7.5, it is just constant yield. Both tokens are moving up and to the right. So not only are you in a liquidity pool with two appreciating tokens in value, it's constantly rebalancing. And with that magnet, the IL is very low. So the impermanent loss is very low, but you're getting constant volume. So you're getting plus percentage on both sides of the equation of your liquidity pool. So if you believe in both tokens and they move together, this LP, this liquidity pool is a yield machine. So it has high risk, but very high reward. So the benefits of this type of liquidity pool, volatile to volatile, is high yield from volatility, and the volatility obviously equals volume. The ecosystem synergy. If you can get ecosystem synergy, and this is something that makes Pulsechain unique, this is one of the major benefits. And low impermanent loss if they're synced together. The trade-off, however, is you can have very high impermanent loss if the tokens diverge. So in other words, if one is mooning and one is dumping and it stays that way and it continues to trend that way, you're going to end up with more of the one that is dumping and less of the one that is mooning. And this is obviously due to the X times Y constant, which if you don't know about now, I strongly recommend checking out this video. The constant volatility equals constant volume equals constant yield. The movement, the arbitrage, the liquidity webs. This is something that is so unique to Pulsechain. When you can find tokens within an ecosystem, this is what makes Pulsechain unique, because tokens aren't just bonded with token A and token B, and token B is just some kind of stable coin or just Ethereum or just Solana. They are literally interconnected through a web. And as they're interconnected through a web of tokens, there is constant volume and arbitrage flowing through that. And when you have tokens within an ecosystem like the Atropa ecosystem, which are bonded in percentages and ratios, they tend to move together if you can find the right kinds of pairs. And with a whole liquidity web behind it, giving value and arbitrage, it's plus percent yield and plus percent yield on both sides of the equation. These are literally the best kinds of liquidity pools to find. Obviously, you want to look at the amount of liquidity in there, how much actual volume is going in there, because these is going to determine how much yield you're going to get. So check out the 7 principles of a good liquidity pool. But we will go into the percentages and the ratios and liquidity webs in future episodes. So stay tuned, and I hope you enjoyed this episode.